In this lesson, we'll explore object and schema management. You will have an overview of creating and managing advanced objects, including how to create a table object and how to change an existing table object. You'll also learn how to work with object DDLs. And here we're looking at DBArtisan's user interface. So again, I'm connected to my laptop virtual machine as well as a machine in my office. So let's go ahead and expand this. And then before I expand any further, let's take a look at how I have my Explorer organized. I can either organize the Explorer by object owner, or I can organize it by, if organized by owner, again I'll expand the schema, I could also organize by object type. In this situation, let's go ahead and keep it as owner. Let's expand my GIM schema owner, and I'd like to create a table. So at this point I can highlight the table node of the Explorer, right click and press create, or I can go up to the menu, the create option, press create there. Let's go ahead and walk through the wizard. And this wizard, again, though this is specific to Oracle, the look and feel is going to be identical to all the supported platforms. So we have a test table. We like all the other options here. Let's go ahead and press next. Now we're at our column definition, so we'll have an ID column. The data type, we'll select that as integer. A drop down here will list all the available data types specific to that connected platform. Let's add another column, first name, and we'll make this a varchar2 column. Drop that down and select that. There we go, and we'll give it a size of 25. Press next. I'm sorry, bring that back one more column. We're going to give last name. Last name column, again varchar2, and we'll make that 50. And we'll add a comment on this field. Alright, generic comment there. Now we'll press next in the wizard, and it allows us to create an index here. Let's go ahead and add the index. We'll call this TT unique and press next. And we have the ability to select the columns. So here I'll select the ID column. Next, accept the storage. We'll bring this over and put it in our GIM table space. Next, with the partition, leave it alone. Look at our DDL view. We like what we're doing there, so go ahead and press add there. Step through back to our table wizard. We have the constraints. There we can add primary keys if we like, or unique keys. We can press next there for storage. Let's go ahead and drop this down to GIM. Again, we look at our partition. If we'd like to, we could convert this to a partition table at this point. The comment, we'll go ahead and add one. And then we look at our permissions. At this time, we can select and specify the permissions for this new object. And lastly, we're provided with the DDL view. So at this point, we can scroll through the DDL view, confirming that indeed everything we ask the wizard to do is indeed what we want it to do. And we see the create table statement as well as the create unique index statement. And we can go ahead and save this off. We can print it, send it to email. We can also send it and extract this SQL straight to an iSQL window. Maybe this is just a beginning of a larger job. And lastly, we can schedule this. So let's go ahead and execute this statement. So at this point, the table has been created, and DBArtisan brings us back in to the table editor. So here, if there's any other changes that we need to make for this table, we are able to do this right now. But for purposes of this video, let's go ahead and take a look at what we can do and how it looks compared to other platforms. So let's go into my Sybase 15 data source. We'll go into the databases node, again a different structure with Sybase users, and go down to our DBO and look at a table there. And this is a similar table, so let's go ahead and open this table. But before I do, let's take a look at all the other options that we can perform on this object. Again, we can create a new one, we can open it, we can extract it to a SQL window with all the DDL, migrate it to another platform, and we can create a view based on it. We can create a like table if we know the table is identical with the exception of a few minor edits. We can go ahead and create like, and that will bring us to a wizard. And we can edit data within the table as well, and that'll be coming up in a further lesson. So let's go ahead and take a look quickly at all the other options. Again, that's the context menu, the right click option. Let's go ahead and open it. And again, as it looked very familiar to what we saw when DBArtisan opened up our Oracle table, we're again now looking at a Sybase table. We look at our columns at any time. We have the ability to add a column if we'd like, and this column will be a test column. It is numeric. We'll leave it as the default. And again, if we look here, we have the alter command is now enabled, so we can alter the table. If we press that, we'll be prompted with the preview view of the alter statement, which is simply altering table, adding the test column at the end. Let's cancel that. Let's go ahead and move this, though. We've added it, but we'd like to move it up a little bit more in the order. Now if we press alter, DBArtisan has the ability, unlike other products on the market, to do what we refer to as an extended alter. So we understand the metadata. We've read all that into the product. So at this point, we're going to go through and alter the table, actually drop some constraints. You can follow along. We'll rename the table to a backup name, create the new table with the test column in the specific order that we'd like, go through now and bring the data back in, selecting from the backup table, putting those constraints back on the table, creating an index, actually recreating the stored procedures that were dependent on it. And at the end, we're able to go ahead and successfully press execute after all the permissions were granted again, and we can go ahead and create that column in the middle. I'll cancel that and bring you back and take a look at one more option. Let's close, and again we're prompted with the change. We'll select no. And if we look through there, we're also able to multi-select objects. So if I select broker and client and let's say office transaction, office location and transaction, invoke the context menu, at this time I could update statistics for these tables. Again, I have the options. Just as we saw with the table creation wizard, we step through and we can look at our preview statement. So again, DBArtisan allows you to do the multi-selects, and where applicable provides you with those options that we can run against multiple objects when they're selected. So in this case, I've selected the 4 tables. I can go ahead and run the update statistics at this time for the 4 tables. And there we go. The statistics are now fresh for those tables. And as I mentioned, I was only working with tables in this example here, but the object creation and object support, the object editors, are very similar to all of the supported objects for every platform.